Strippers of Reddit, what's your weirdest story while working? Not a stripper but owe my life to one. Used to work at a strip joint as head of security. One of the girls, they called me a little brother so I called them girls, said one of the patrons was creeping her out. We made creepy, we are talking Scooby-Doo creepy, to leave. Girl then asked for someone to walk her to the car as she had a bad feeling. I said I would as I was not busy. I went out first, checked around and did not see anyone in the parking lot. Went and got the girl and started to walk her to her car. Creepy dude came out from the dumpster. I did not see him in time and he smacked me in the back of the head with a effing brick. I go down to both knees. I hear high-pitched girly screams. I am trying to get to my feet, clear the cobwebs. Thankfully I have more bone than brain, only to find the girl smashing the creep's head into the ground, after she literally crushed honor of his testicles with her foot. She said he was trying to smash the brick into my head a second time when she went on the offensive, did a hell of a number on him. Holy S_hit. I got paid $500 to beat a man with his own belt on stage for his last night as a bachelor. I was brutal and the more savage I got, the more tips rolled in. That poor guy. But through all the screams and wincing, he actually loved every bit of it. Hope he healed before the wedding. It's finally my time to shine. Let me tell you about Catfoot Breath. This man was a heart surgeon, and if you didn't know that you would think he was a janitor or something. He came across as barely functional. This man's mouth smelled like dry cat food and a hot juicy dumpster on a summer day mixed together in perfect harmony. Well anyways, he would tell me, and everyone at the bar, how his dream life was to kidnap me and take me to Mexico, not allow me to ever sleep, and to encase me in a bodyc_ndom and throw me into a pool of ice if I tried to sleep at all. That's quite a red flag you got there. Hit club, guy who was a celery farmer came in and gave us all free bags of celery. There was also candle guy, worked at a candle factory and would bring in the reject candles. Supposedly other farmers with various free foods would come in but I only got hooked up with celery and candles. Edit, thanks for the awards. I have lots of unwholesome stories from my time on the pole but it was nice to share a harmless one for a change. Smile. The only appropriate way to stalk a stripper. Edit, obligatory thanks for the golden gifts, kind strangers. Also shout out to those who share the Chelsea FC celery chant. Amazing. I was the bartender at a strip club for a few months once. I have seen and heard some crazy stories, classic strip club stuff. But this one time, a customer brought in her pet parrot to the bar. I obviously spent the rest of my shift talking with the parrot. His name was Pickle. He tipped me $1. He was a real gem. Man, getting tipped $1 by a parrot. I'd frame it. A buddy paid me back $200 with a banded stack of $2 bills. Went to a nearby club with a friend and all was well until a young dancer took the stage. We began putting money on the stage and she just stops and says, "What the F_CK is this?" Apparently she hadn't seen a $2 bill before. That's funny considering I've heard some clubs give out $2 bills if you need change for larger bills for tipping. The girls are liable to get more since the minimum tip is $2, if you got change, and you're encouraged to spend all of them because everyone else in town knows where you got a bunch of $2 bills from. An ex-pro skater took a liking to me and kept buying dances from me. Clubs in my city don't have VIP rooms. I was a baby stripper so after a few dances I just ran out of moves lol but the guy started calling me Arwen and Liv. I kept saying those aren't my name and he confessed he was in love with me because I look like Liv Tyler in the 90s. Probably the best compliment I've received. The bad experiences I think I've repressed. I have to know if it was Tony Hawk. Can't be, she recognized him. Not a stripper but was an escort. A man booked me for $400 for 2 hours just to get N_kid to have dinner in the room and talk to him on the bed. Never wanted S_X. Just be N_kid and talk about stuff. He said he never get to talk to his wife like that. Kinda sad for him. I feel like most dancers have countless stories. Hard to find weird ones because they're all a little odd and it becomes normal over time. One man spent over $1,000 on me over a couple hours. I massaged his back and he fell asleep in a champagne room. When he woke up he said, "How did you know exactly what I needed?" After the champagne room he wanted more time with me and we went to do several private dances. He cried during them while I sat on his lap and sang to him and brushed his hair back, massaging his scalp with my nails. Another man came up to me garbling about worshipping me and wanting to lick the bottom of my heels, suck the stiletto and drink my urine. It was so slow and I was reading a book in the back of the club, so I was awfully surprised when someone approached me and unleashed all of that on me. My manager said he'd pee in a glass for me if I really wanted to go for it. Edit, wording and added some more details. Also, the song in the first story was Breeze Blocks. For those of you setting the tone with Sarah McLachlan playing in your head, I went with my friend on a sorta slow Tuesday night. Met this dancer that hated this one creepy dude and asked me to keep buying dances and she'll pay me back and take me to the 24-hour pho place. Heard this one before. I keep buying dances and we talk about Zelda oot. End of the night comes around, she gives me her number and texts me to meet at the pho place in an hour. A woman of her word, she gives me my cash back and buys me pho. Dr. Stripper bought me pho. Haha, I never would have believed that. Sounds like the oldest trick in the book. But she said she was doing to meet me to the bouncer as they escort you out, but no, this is a stripper who chose to make $0 for her shift to avoid a creepy guy. Avoiding a creepy guy in a strip club. Not really weird but sad. One time I was doing a VIP session, and this dude legitimately told me to stop dancing, and basically broke down in front of me, telling me he was only there because his friends dragged him along to cheer him up. From what he told me, he caught his wife in bed with another man, and they recently just got divorced. He told me his now ex-wife told his kids that he was the one cheating, and his kids basically hated him now. I've never felt so bad for a total stranger all my life. This just happened to my friends and family. The wife had an affair with another man and was caught twice. Each time she apologized. News came in today that she somehow made the husband go to sleep or made him unconscious somehow and left with everything valuable, jewelry, money, etc., and both of the daughters. I really don't get how people could do this to anyone. Edit, fixed typos and made context more clear. Not a stripper but have a funny story from the only time I've been to a strip club. On a night out at university, my friend had just broken up with his girlfriend, so dragged me into one of clubs in town. He paid for me to have a dance whilst he tried to bet with one of the others by flipping a coin. Heads, he gets the dance for free, tails, he pays double. It was tails. Anyway, during my dance, I was chatting to the girl who was a similar age and we found out we were both studying law, although she was a year below and at a separate university. We spent the majority of the dance discussing contract law and our experiences as a student. She ended up giving me her email address and I sent her all of my notes from the previous/current year to help her out. She'll have graduated by now, so I often wonder what she's up to. It all ended up being quite a wholesome night considering. Well, send her an email and find out. If it's not an edu email, chances are she's still using it. Number 1, guy was in with his 20-something son. I get the guy to go for a dance. We're in the booth nearest to the entry foyer area. Partway through the song, I look over and see a group paying the cover, one of which is a girl who is staring at us. Next thing I know, this chick has plopped down in the booth next to the guy and goes, "Hi dad." The whole family had come to the strip club. Number 2, a few of us shared the same regular customer. Very nice soft-spoken man, played the ukulele as a hobby and drank ginger ale in the club, always bought at least a half-hour VIP, often multiple hours, and tipped well on top. Absolute gem of a customer. The catch was that he had a combination of fetishes. He would wear a chastity belt with a chain on it so the girls could pull on it. He also liked to imagine he was a puppy and do this third-person roleplay bit. Like, he would say if you and other dancer had a slumber party, what would you want puppy to do? Would you put puppy in his cage? I have lots of stories but those are the weirdest that spring to mind. Hi dad, I'd if that's an okay thing to say in a strip club lol. When I was a stripper, a customer visiting from Canada bought a lap dance and while we were back there, he tried to talk me into going to his hotel to give him a hand job for $200. I declined multiple times. He took the hint, and also came in his pants during the lap dance. He leaves, life goes on. 8 years later I'm a hairdresser in the suburbs and who the F_CK walks in? Hand job guy. I was the only one available and I'm a professional so I didn't say anything. He mentioned I looked familiar, and halfway through it seemed to dawn on him because he suddenly got quiet, paid, literally ran out, and never came back lol. Cousin's friend is a former stripper, told this one at a family gathering essentially, this dude paid for the full VIP treatment, room and all that. But 4 minutes in or so, he wanted to show his dogs. He spent the entire rest of the time showing her his dogs and videos of them playing. She asked him why he spent his money for the full VIP treatment just to show dogs. He said, "Oh, I just wanted to show my dogs to someone, but couldn't find another way." Edit, to everyone talking about him not knowing what Reddit is or whatever, the story was in the early 2010s and Reddit wasn't as widespread. That's oddly wholesome. But it says so much about our society that someone paid hundreds of dollars in a strip club because they were lonely and no one else cared about them. Either that or they were into showing pictures of their dogs. Cousin's friend is a former stripper, told this one at a family gathering essentially, this dude paid for the full VIP treatment, room and all that. But 4 minutes in or so, he wanted to show his dogs. He spent the entire rest of the time showing her his dogs and videos of them playing. She asked him why he spent his money for the full VIP treatment just to show dogs. He said, "Oh, I just wanted to show my dogs to someone, but couldn't find another way." Edit, to everyone talking about him not knowing what Reddit is or whatever, the story was in the early 2010s and Reddit wasn't as widespread. That's oddly wholesome. But it says so much about our society that someone paid hundreds of dollars in a strip club because they were lonely and no one else cared about them. Either that or they were into showing pictures of their dogs.